All right, everybody. So today we're going to be going over accumulation and distribution and what it is. Now, this isn't necessarily going to be a system of trading, and today's video is probably going to be a little bit shorter than the rest of the videos just because the topic isn't a very broad topic to talk about, but I feel like it's definitely something I want to, educate you guys on because it is pretty important when it comes down to our trading system, which is supply and demand, and that is something that we will see throughout the future and throughout your trading and throughout trading support and resistance, and what it is exactly. So pretty much when it comes down to when it comes down to accumulation and distribution, it happens in all forms. Obviously, we know the definitions of accumulation, where you're just gathering up a bunch of stuff. Like, let's just say I was going to the grocery store, and I knew the COVID-19 pandemic was going to come and hit the market, right? Or not the market, but it was going to affect society. And I go to the grocery store. I'm going to accumulate as much water bottles as I possibly could. I'm gathering as much water as I can. I'm accumulating water. And obviously distribution is me handing out water bottles to the rest of the members in my family, right? Meaning that I'm going to be short on water bottles, and I may have to go back and accumulate again before I can start distributing more water bottles to my family members, right? Very, very basic, simple, definition breakdown there. But anyways, when it comes down to supply and demand, what happens at these levels before we see the markets really take off is accumulation and distribution. Now let's bump it down to the 4-hour time frame really quickly here. So here we're looking at GBP, JPY, and 149.200 is a level of supply, right? This is an area where every time price hits this level, we have a big bounce in the opposite direction because price is very cheap and price moves off of this direction. Now, if we look at price here, what's going on here is that we see price moving sideways. All that's happening here is that the major players, being the big banks, the hedge funds, the institutions, they're accumulating buy orders, right? They're anticipating for price to go up, and buy orders are being accumulated, meaning that there's a lot of positions that the banks are taking within this price range, because remember, support and resistance, supply and demand, doesn't matter who you are. You could be Warren Buffett, you don't know the exact price is going to go up from. Notice how we had an initial reaction here, then we had price come all the way down here, breaking your support level, and you being your newer trader, you're like, oh, support is broken, when that's not the case. Support, resistance, supply and demand is all a zone, right? And all that's happening here is that banks are accumulating on buy positions to when the actual position takes off. As you can see, it takes off in the right direction typically, and then banks start to distribute. When we see big sell-offs like this at big levels of resistance, right, that's the big banks, the big hedge funds distributing their positions, meaning that they are closing their buy positions because they have made a profit. And typically that causes a chain reaction where you see a big sell-off in the market because more and more people start to see the market going the opposite direction, and we see the big sell-offs. A lot of people start distributing their buy positions. Now, different types of trading strategies that banks have used as well. Now, I'm not saying I'm a banker trader, but is a different form of accumulation and distribution, is where we see price have really big rallies to the upside like this, and as price starts pulling back more and more, they'll start adding buy positions, meaning that they're adding buy positions as price is continuing in the opposite direction before they move price bullish, right? So let's just say that the banks sold. I'm going to use these lines here just to make an example, right? Let's say the banks ended up taking a buy here, right? I'm going to make this green. They took a buy there. Let's just say they took another buy position here. Let's just say they just took another buy position here now. When this position down here starts going into profit, it should start covering the loss of this position and this position. And what they'll start doing is distributing their buy positions as price goes higher and higher and higher until a point where price reaches let's just say 160 flat, and then they'll start to sell off the market, distributing the rest of their buy positions once all of their orders have been filled and all their orders have been in profit. right? But again, that's all that's happening here, is that buyers or banks are accumulating in positions. So let's say here they're accumulating on buy positions. Here they start selling them and start accumulating on sell positions, where we see a big sell off in the market. They'll probably accumulate some more here, all the way back down to the next level, which they'll start accumulating on buy positions again. And this is how banks move the market. Now, there's obviously so much more that goes involved when it comes down to moving the actual markets themselves. Now, typically, you have what's going on in the economy, if the economy is doing well or not, the amount of supply of that specific currency that's circulating in the economy. Then you have big businesses doing big transactions, and whatever the case might be is, when businesses move billions and billions of dollars from, let's just say, the pound to the yen, you'll see a big reaction out of price there. There's so many news events that, also occur to price movement as well. But I just kind of wanted to go over what accumulation and distribution is. So when you know that you're trading at a specific level and you see it consolidating, that simply means that decisions are being made, right? When decisions are being made, there's typically going to be a big move that's going to happen right after that. And as you can see, price accumulated here a little bit and then came down, came back up, accumulated even more, and then continued to really go down after that. And what could also happen in situations like this is they just start accumulating on short positions, which causes a huge breakout here, which could be activated by a news event. So hopefully you guys did understand that. So just wanted to give everybody a quick lesson on accumulation and distribution, just so you guys understand the overall idea behind it. And I'll talk to everybody in the next section.